Recently, on my Instagram account, I've gotten a couple questions on the best exercises for strengthening and stretching your hamstring muscles. So in today's video, I'm going to demonstrate 5 different exercises for working the hamstring muscles. The leg curl is one of those foundational exercises on the total gym. And according to Tom Campanaro, one of the inventors of the total gym, it actually works about 80% of the muscles in your lower body. So it is a super efficient exercise. Now for this exercise, I've got my wing attachments attached to the top of my glide rails, and you're also going to want to have some shoes on in order to protect your heels and your ankles. So let's go ahead and get in position. One foot in at a time. And I'm just going to roll back onto my glide board. Now, when I'm performing this exercise, I'm thinking about driving my heels or pushing my heels into that padded surface of the wing attachment and pulling myself up the glide rails. Get a nice squeeze up at the top and then lower yourself back down. Now you can increase the challenge of this exercise by changing up the tempo. So I'm going to pull up and then I'm just going to slowly bring myself back down. That's going to increase your time under tension and make the exercise more efficient and more effective. Now you can also perform this exercise in a nice seated position. So you want to be seated up nice and tall. Place your hands on your hamstrings on the back side of your legs, and then just pull yourself up the glide rails just like before. So if that decline position isn't good for you, or inverted position, you can perform it in the seated position as well. Now, getting in and out of these wing bars can be tricky sometimes, so if you want a little bit more information how to do that safely, I have another video that completely goes over that process, and I'll leave a link to it in the video description. The bridge squat is another effective exercise for building and strengthening the muscles of your hamstrings. So for this exercise, I'm using my tow bar, which I prefer because it does have that nice flat surface, but you could use any squat stand that you may have. I also like it because it's a little bit shorter than the XL squat stand. So I'm going to go ahead and get into position, taking a seat towards the bottom of my glide board, and then just lowering down. I have my feet about hip distance apart on the tow bar. And when you're performing the exercise, you're going to want to make sure that you keep your knees and your toes in alignment with one another. You don't want your knees like turning in or turning out. Just keep them nicely aligned. You can place your hands at the bottom of your glide board, just cup them on the padded surface, or you could grab even the top of your glide board here. So to perform the exercise, I'm just going to drive my hips straight up, squeezing my glutes to keep myself nice and lifted, and then extend out, pressing away from the tow bar as far as I can, and then coming back in, squeezing the glutes as I drive my knees up towards the ceiling. Make sure that you're keeping the weight on your shoulder blades and not on your neck. Again, squeeze those glute muscles. This is working the entire posterior chain of your body. Now, if you do need to increase the resistance, I do recommend that you keep this glide board at a medium level. If you start raising it up too high, you're going to put more pressure on your neck. So you could add some weight plates if you wanted to increase the resistance. Another option is to do a single leg version. So that's really going to increase the challenge as well. So I'm just going to drive my hips up again. I'm going to center one of my feet more towards the center of the tow bar, and then just bring the other one up off the tow bar, press out with that single leg, and then pull back in. Squeeze that glute. This is really challenging. You'll really feel the difference. And let's go over to the other side. Pushing out, pulling in, squeezing that glute as hard as you can to keep your backside lifted up off the glide board. And then when you're done, just roll back down. And that is the bridge squat on your total gym. Another effective exercise for working the hamstrings on your total gym is a hip bridge. So for this exercise, I have my glide rail set at a lower level. I'm at a level 3 out of 12. And I'm sitting at the base of my glide board, as you can see here. If you have hard flooring surfaces, you also probably want to get a gym mat just to be a little bit more comfortable. I'm going to place my rear end towards the crossbar of my total gym and just lie back and place your hands on that crossbar as well. And then placing my feet on the glide board, I'm going to lift my hips straight up, squeezing my glutes as hard as I can. I'm driving my heels into that padded glide board and then extending out and pulling back in. You can really feel this in your hamstrings. If you want to increase the challenge, you could add some weight plates for additional resistance. You could also go into a single leg exercise as well. So driving the heels up, lifting one leg up off, and then just doing the exercise with one leg, squeezing your glutes as hard as you can to keep those hips lifted. It is much more challenging doing it on a single leg. And that's how you perform a hip bridge to work those hamstring muscles on your total gym. The hamstring pull is another exercise that you can perform on your total gym to help strengthen and stretch your hamstring muscles. Now for this exercise, I'm using the Pilates kit, which includes the tow bar and also the leg pulley system. Now that system comes with a lot of different total gym models, but if you want to learn more about it, you can check out the links in the video description. Also, I do have a full video that shows you how to use the leg pulley system. So if you're not really comfortable with it, check that video out as well. So I'm going to go ahead and grab the rope and then pull the glide board up the rails and take a seat towards the bottom of my glide board. Now for this exercise, I do also have my weight bar and weight plates just for some added resistance. With this exercise, it's not quite as intense as some of those other exercises demonstrated in this video, so this can help increase the challenge. You could also raise your glide board up to the top level, but I find when I do that, the rope can kind of come down into your face. So I prefer to keep it at a medium to low level and then just add resistance with the weight plates. So I'm going to go ahead and get in position, attach that clip to the outside O-ring on your ankle cuff. And then I'm going to place my other heel on the glide board, and then just lift your leg straight up and then press down with those hamstring muscles. You really have to focus on activating those muscles so you're actually engaging the hamstring when you're performing the exercise rather than just going through a motion. I'm also feeling this in my abs to help keep myself stable and to press that leg down. This is also a great exercise for stretching out your hamstrings if you have tight hamstrings. When you're bringing your leg up, you're feeling a nice stretch down the back of your leg. You could also just stay in the position and then pull on that rope just a little bit to get a deeper hamstring stretch. You can also go into a flex foot for a deeper stretch, or point your toe, or alternate between the two. And then when you're done, just lower yourself back down and detach the pulley from your ankle cuff. One final hamstring exercise on the total gym is the hamstring curl or the leg curl in a prone position. Now this exercise is a little bit more advanced, so you'll need to be really careful coming in and out of the exercise. So for this one, I've removed the handles off my cables. I've got the cable attached to the top of the glide board, and you're also going to want to have some of these carabiner clips. It's going to be much easier to get in and out of this exercise. I've also got my ankle cuffs on both of my feet, and I'm going to attach that carabiner to the outside O-ring on the ankle cuff. I'm going to do that on both sides. And then this is the tricky part. Carefully, you're going to want to lower yourself down onto the glide board, so you're face down. I'm just lifting one knee on at a time. Then I'm going to lower myself down so my chest is towards the end of the glide board. Squeezing my glutes, pressing my hips down on the glide board, and then bend at the knee and use my hamstrings to pull myself up the glide rails. I do flex my feet though when I'm in that flex position, and then just pointing them as I extend down. That kind of keeps them out of the way of the cables. Really think about pressing your hips down, squeezing your glutes and your hamstrings as you pull yourself up the glide rails. And then when you're done, you have to be, again, very careful. So I just press up off the glide board, and then I bring one foot down at a time onto the floor. It can be a little tricky, so it's not always the most graceful move. And then just detach your carabiners from your ankle cuffs. I'll leave links to all the items I've mentioned in this video, so check out the video description. If you enjoyed this content, be sure to give it a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel. While you're here, be sure to check out these videos next.